Welcome to the Dynasty Dads Podcast. Football, rankings, baits, dad stuff. With your host, Justin Williams and Matt Renshaw.
And welcome everyone to this edition of the Dynasty Dads Podcast. I am your host, Justin Williams, and with me as always, my good friend Matt Renshaw. And today we are actually coming to you live from the Seagram's Escape Studio in Council Bluffs. Not really, but there's still Seagram's here, and it's getting weird.
There is not. Look at the spread I laid out this week.
2 weeks in a row, Matt.
I showed you. We've got some Jack, we've got some Jim, we've got some Crown.
And a nice empty bottle of Seagram's.
You've got the Fireball.
Matt, how was your week? How you been?
It was a good week. It was a really good week. I don't know if anybody knows. So I stay home all summer with my kids. And
because you're a teacher.
Because I'm a teacher, and my wife works in the summer, and when I'm at work, she stays home. So it has been interesting. My girls just if we have any mom listeners, stay-at-home mom listeners, I do not envy what you do. Right? I mean, your wife is staying home now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As of this week, actually, that's kind of my kid story.
Congrats on that. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rob you of your kid story, but it's just I love my daughters. I think I'm ready to go back to work.
Oh yeah, no, this is Parents, we wait for summer vacation to end.
Yeah,
I mean it's normal.
Yeah, my job is to be around kids, and then in the summer I'm around kids. So yeah, maybe I'm doing it wrong. This week, let's see. My 2-year-old, or no, I'm sorry, my youngest, 17, 18 months, just looked at me today and flat out lied to my face, which I'm sure I have a lot of looking forward to that in the future. But she found something on the floor and she was eating it, and I know she got it on the floor. And I said, "Where'd you get that?" Stared me in the eye, threw up her arms in the I don't know motion. I'm like, all right, it starts.
It starts.
And you have a daughter. You look forward to that. Look forward to that.
No, my princess will never do that to me.
Oh yeah,
she loves her mom. She loves her dad. Never will happen.
All right. Sorry, kids. What about your kid's story?
I don't really have a kid story per se. My wife actually had her first day as a stay-at-home mom last Monday. Yeah. Which was, it was a really big deal. It's something that she's wanted to do for a long time.
Congrats to you. Congrats to Emily.
Thank you. We're finally able to make that happen, and it's been great. She's loved it. She's still in that honeymoon phase with that, and absolutely enjoys it. We got about a couple weeks before Carson goes back to school, and it will just be all mommy baby time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
At the Williams household.
Yeah. And enjoy it. It's not for everyone.
Not. It's not. Well, before then, I was the one that would when my mom couldn't watch them or we couldn't find a sitter or whatever, I'd be the one that I would stay home from work and I'd be the one that watched them. Yeah. And I just told her, I was like, I'm not made to do it. Yeah. I love the kids and I can take care of them. No one died.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But it's just like, man, it's really hard to do that and then to run your own business at the same time. And it's just like to, make sure that you don't do anything stupid with the podcast. It's a lot.
Oh, get out.
It's a ton. It's a ton.
I talked to somebody and they said, well, it's another teacher that stays home and I think he listens to the show and he was like, yeah, we try not to give our kids more than 30 minutes of screen time. And in my head, I went, oh, I must be doing it way wrong. Because 30 minutes is breakfast. So, yeah, no, it's breakfast. So it's just been a long week. And my wife is putting in 60 hours this week and next week. So it's going to be a long 2-week stretch. And then I go back to work. So the finish line is near, but yeah.
Oh boy. Well, having kids is great.
Yeah, I
most of the time.
I love my daughter just as you love. I love my daughter just as you love your 2 kids as well.
Just as a reminder, this is the Dynasty Dads podcast. And you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, really whatever you can find a podcast on. we're going to be there, and just look a little closer to the top. That's where you'll find us.
That's right.
We also have the website, dynastydads.com, and we are very, very active on Twitter at Dynasty Dads.
That's the one.
So be sure to check us out. Communicate with us. Reach out to us.
Yeah.
We're probably going to talk back.
Absolutely, we'll talk back.
Unless you look creepy, then Matt's probably going to DM you.
I'll still talk to you.
Absolutely, you will.
That's right.
Freaking weirdo.
What we got today?
Dude, we have the Ryan frickin' McDowell.
This is a big guest for us.
Right here.
Guy knows his stuff, and he's been doing it for a while.
Ryan McDowell in the house. We've had some big names.
Are we gonna tell Ryan McDowell it's the Seagram's Escapes studio?
No, I'm not gonna.
No,
do
we're
that
not
to
mentioning
you.
that. Okay.
No, I'm gonna DM him and tell him beforehand. But we just think about the names we've had on the show.
I know.
Ryan McDowell, Scott Fish, Bob Lung, dude.
Mitchell Rentz, Derek Brown.
Derek Brown. Absolutely. We've had so many huge names in the Dynasty community on this podcast, and we're not even a year old
We're
yet.
not. We are still infants.
Well, Matt, you are definitely mentally an infant. You're on the right track. Buddy.
Yeah. So we're less than a year old, and we've had some big names, and it's been an awesome off season for us. I'm ready for the season to start, get some real football, and it's all speculative talk that we're doing now, but we'll finally get to see some hard hitting.
You are
Hall of Fame game tomorrow night. Are you? I'm excited. Are you not excited?
I'm excited just to see some kind of football. I mean, I'm not going to watch that whole game, though. It's just not going to happen.
I'm going to watch the Lamar Jackson parts.
I'm sure we'll talk about that with Ryan later. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of Lamar Jackson tomorrow.
You don't?
No.
Oh.
Dude is their future.
Yeah.
They don't want to Teddy Bridgewater.
Even if he gets hurt this year, then they've got Flacco, and you can sit him for a year.
You know, I know we usually take a break, but I'm amped up, man. I'm ready. Let's just go right into news and notes.
We don't need no stinking breaks.
Yeah, we got to talk about this stuff. Stephon Diggs just signed a 5-year extension worth $72 million.
Dude got paid. Did you hear his backstory?
His backstory?
Like what motivates him to come to work, and his dad passed away.
Probably $72 million.
Well, okay, yes, but his dad passed away when he was 14, and he told him he needed to be the man of the house and take care of the family, and so that's kind of what he's been working for. 5th-round pick, dude got paid. I mean, good for him. It's an inspiring story that he's got, and it looks like he's going to be a Minnesota Viking for a while.
Yeah, until 2023 is how long the contract is set to go through, but you know how that works.
That's right.
He had $40 million of that $72 million guaranteed. And that's actually less than what Brandon Cooks made this offseason, which was $80 million total.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. Like you said, in 2015, he was a 5th-round pick, and it just goes to show you, if the talent's there, you got to believe in, you got to hold on.
That's right.
Which brings me to my next point.
Okay.
Laquan Treadwell.
This is your boy.
Laquan Treadwell is running with the ones in 3 wide receiver sets for the Vikings.
Yeah.
So you got Thielen, you got your $1 million man, Stephon Diggs, and you got Treadwell.
Yep.
One of these things is not like the other.
Who's going to beat him out? Who's going to eventually take his spot?
Well, Roto World, while they are reporting that Treadwell is running with the ones in the 3 set, that they still expect Kendall Wright to start the season as that wide receiver 3 in those types of formations.
Yeah.
But they also speculate the reason why the Vikings are even giving Treadwell a chance here is just to kind of see what he has, because he is, I do believe his contract is up.
No.
I want to say, is it next year?
No, next year. He's got 2 years left on it. And they have a 5th-year option on the guy.
Well, they
want to pay him.
They want to see what they got, and so this is kind of the time to do that and just see kind of how he connects. But boy, we need something. Us Treadwell believers need something.
You mean the one? Are you the only one?
I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one, but I know a lot of people took him super.
You took him 102,
high in rookie drafts,
right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I admit it.
Yeah, there was talk that draft that he could have been the 101.
He was the 23rd overall pick in the 2016 draft.
That's right.
So I mean, the Vikings have a lot, invested in him too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with him.
I could see him having some success. I mean, he's a guy that could be a late bloomer, and I don't know.
He can only go up. I mean, he's had 21 total career receptions in the NFL.
And you know how many he had last year? 20 because he had one his first year. So I'm not as high on him as you are, but he's got an opportunity here. If he stays as the 3 in a high-powered offense, he could provide some hold value, I guess.
Well, yeah.
No?
I think he's worth it. I like having him on my roster. I haven't cut him. I haven't traded him. Every share I have of him, I've held on to.
He's going to produce more than this next guy we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that brings me to it. Perennial disappointment Jordan Matthews. His roster spot may be in jeopardy, according to Mass Live's Andrew Callahan. Matthews has been missing time with a hammy, and he just landed on the IR today. That's kind of breaking news.
That's right. There was talk he got cut, but he didn't get cut. He got put on the IR.
Exactly. Thank you. It was reported in the morning, and then they changed it in the afternoon. The Pats are still rumored to be considering cutting him with a buyout, it sounds like. Cordell Patterson, Kenny Britt, and Philip Dorsett were Matthews' competition. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this was a real missed opportunity for Jordan Matthews to show the world that he just doesn't suck.
We've talked on previous shows, I like Matthews, and if he plays this year, I probably still like him a little bit.
He's not playing this year.
You just talked he might get a settlement and come play.
Yeah, but he's on the IR, so I mean, you're not going to see him until at least the second half of the season at best.
If they buy him out and he doesn't finish the year on the IR, or if they buy him out, he's not on the IR, he can sign somewhere and play right away.
Yeah, he can sign somewhere and play, but he's not going to. He's not good enough to just walk into any system and just start. He doesn't know. I mean, he's only been on 2 different teams. I don't think he's like this, vet that can just walk in and know the playbook and figure it out pretty quickly.
You don't think Buffalo would take him back right now?
No, I really don't think. I think Buffalo is just tanking this year.
I thought that last year, but Buffalo needs a wide receiver, and
excuse me, Kelvin Benjamin says hello.
Right, and then Crazy Jones.
Crazy, I get it.
You know what I mean? Because
he's nuts.
Because he's crazy. Yeah. Yep.
Well, let's keep this wide receiver train rolling.
All right, let's do it.
Doug Baldwin is expected to miss a few weeks, actually, all of preseason. Am I right?
Yep, that's what the last report I saw.
Yeah, had a bit of a knee injury. Kind of a big deal for a wide receiver group that is dangerously thin. Baldwin has only missed 2 games in 7 seasons, but still, it's kind of worrisome.
He's fine.
Good opportunity for Tyler Lockett, Brandon Marshall, Amara Darboh, and Tanner McAvoy, which is kind of a deep sleeper.
He's fine. He's going to play. He doesn't need the preseason. He's 29, going to be 30. He's fine. Remember when Adrian Peterson didn't play any in the preseason and came out and just dominated? It's a reach of a comparison, but what I'm saying is these vets don't need the preseason to prepare for the regular season. He'll be fine. He's the only passing option in Seattle.
Where do you stand on Brandon Marshall?
Well, he'll look great in that free agent line at the end. I think they're going to cut him. I don't think he stays in Seattle.
Oh, I think he's going to stick.
Oh, you think he sticks?
There's no other talent there right now. I mean, it's Doug Baldwin, and then I think he's better than Tyler Lockett. He's a much different player, but I think he's more valuable in the red zone than Tyler Lockett is anywhere else on the field.
You know who makes sense for Seattle? Big receiver, red zone presence.
They don't need him. They got Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall is Des Bryant.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it. Brandon Marshall is a really talented
That's
player.
weird for you to say, because as high as you are on Des Bryant, to say that he and Brandon Marshall are the same.
I think if you exchange Brandon Marshall in this offense, in this position where he's probably wide receiver 2 on the team, maybe wide receiver 3, I think if you swapped them, you get pretty similar outputs.
Wow. Why don't you have Jerron Brown on here?
Is Jerron Brown a Seahawk? I haven't followed Jerron Brown since he left.
One of the Jay
Cards.
Browns is in Seattle now.
Yeah, who cares? There's only one Brown I want to talk about, and that's later. John Brown.
Okay.
With the Ravens, he's getting a lot of hype.
Yeah,
a lot of buzz. What else we got? Oh, Tyler Eifert has been cleared to practice.
Neat.
And the crowd goes wild.
Crickets.
2018 will be Eifert's 6th season in the NFL, and he's only played 39 of 80 potential games.
Yep, back injuries are nothing to play around with.
#DadStat.
There you go.
Last time we seen Eifert in the end zone was Week 7 of 2016.
He was in my lineup then.
Man, scored 2 touchdowns that game too.
Yeah, I know. I remember. I think, big things, and then IR, and he was done for the year.
I haven't seen a touchdown from Eifert since 2016.
Do you think that changes this year?
Wow. God, you almost have to think it does, right?
Do you? I'm asking.
He's better than Tyler Kroft.
Yes.
So he must be able to start.
Yeah. Well, if he's not injured, he doesn't start.
Jeez.
I think I said that wrong. If he's injured, he doesn't start.
Since he needs him to step up and do something to justify really just having him on the roster.
They paid him. He came back for a 1-year deal. He's a contract year guy. I don't like him. I think I traded him to you in one of the leagues we're in together.
Yeah, he was a throw-in.
No, I thought we swapped Phillip Rivers for Tyler Eifert.
Oh, I needed something. I had no tight ends, and I was like, I'll take the risk on him. Because I think Phillip Rivers, in my opinion, was like my QB3 in that league.
I think you're right. You have Wentz.
And I didn't need it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
let's see. Last but certainly not least, if you're paying attention this time of year, you're doing startups, you're on Twitter with Dynasty Football, you've heard plenty about Chris Carson the last couple of days.
Who's this guy?
Chris Carson is the favorite to start according to ESPN. Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Matt, I have a couple things to ask you.
Great.
Buy or sell on Chris Carson right now?
Wait until he has a hot preseason game and sell the crap out of him.
You're drafting today. You willing to invest? I don't know.
His current ADP is in the 13th round.
Let's say you have a shot to get him in the 11th round.
No.
12th.
No.
15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has to be a bit of a value for you.
Yes. I don't like him. I don't think he starts. I don't trust Pete Carroll when he talks about running backs. He talked up Eddie Lacy last year, and the guy got 5 carries week 1 and didn't do a whole lot after that besides eat cheeseburgers. So,
cheeseburger.
Yeah, last week we talked about Happy Meals. This week we're talking about cheeseburgers.
When I order a cheeseburger, I always get it plain. Just the cheese
and the burger?
The burger. That's all I want.
No ketchup, no mustard, no onion.
If I'm feeling like just like whatever, I'll have ketchup and mustard on it. Like I'll eat it with all that stuff on it. But usually, plain. And I'm the guy when you go to a restaurant, if they have like a weird burger, like I'm the guy that tries it. You put an egg on that thing, I'm in. Go to Chili's, you have that Chili's burger where they put the chili on it.
I've never had a Chili's burger. I went to a place, it's only Iowa local, Zombie Burger. They've got a mac and cheese burger.
Had it.
The buns are made of mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's not, you can't pick it up. Like it's
fried mac and cheese.
It's fried mac and cheese, but it like breaks apart after your like first bite.
I didn't eat it.
It's what?
Here's a hot take. This is probably the hottest take, and I'm amazed that we haven't talked about it in a year. I don't like mac and cheese.
Oh my God.
I don't like mac and cheese. Hot take of the year. That's probably the hot take of the podcast.
Matt, you're gonna get us kicked out of the Seagram's Escape Studio for saying such a crazy thing.
I know the guy
iTunes isn't going to carry
that
us.
owns this place.
Podbean is going to kick us off. We're done now.
Hot take. I don't like mac and cheese.
Yeah, monster.
We should put a poll out.
Anyways, let me continue with the Seahawks situation here, please. Listen to this running back depth chart.
Okay.
Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, excuse me. CJ Procise, Mike Davis, and JD McKissick. Mm-hmm. Guys we've all heard about.
Yep.
Guys we've all seen play
guys
the last
that
year.
Been on everyone's roster at some point.
Yep. I can't believe I'm going to ask this, but what is your draft strategy when it comes to those running backs? The Seattle situation in general. Do you have one? Have you thought about it?
No. In best ball leagues, if I can get all of them, you probably have an RB1 each week. No. I know, like I said, I don't trust Pete Carroll. He's talking up McKissick's in the best shape of his life. Procise is probably the third down guy. Didn't you say Penny was you would have drafted him at 19 and he was your guy to own and he's going to be the 3-down back and, it's all coach speak.
Sure it is.
I just, if it's me of the group, I'll pick Penny. I know that's, I'm paying a higher price than some of these other guys, but I don't trust any of the other guys.
I literally own 0 shares of Penny. I'm in like 12 leagues right now.
I'm in a few leagues, and I think I only own one of these guys, and it's Procise.
I don't believe in the player. I believe in where he went. I think that's great, and it shows a lot of value. But I was never high on the player. I'm not high on him now just because of where he went. And if you have this many running backs that are actually semi-notable, it means you don't have one good running back. That's my opinion.
You're right. You said that last week. It's hard to say that because this guy was a first-round pick and we haven't seen him play.
He could end up totally shocking me. Yeah. I get it. But it's just for what you have to invest in Penny right now, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, it's a high price to pay.
Give me Chris Carson super-duper late.
13th round.
Yeah, give me CJ Procise, Mike Davis, or JD McKissick ridiculously
you could probably pick those
late.
guys up. Yeah, 19,
End
20.
of draft guys.
Yep.
dude, one of those guys could absolutely have a nice week or two.
The problem
especially
is
in best ball leagues.
they're all behind the same terrible offensive line.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. Thanks for asking, but my personal draft strategy.
We talked about it.
My draft strategy is actually to get 2 of these guys, and usually as late as possible. I don't have Penny. I have Carson in a bunch of leagues. I'm waiting for a nice
I said,
preseason performance, and I'll probably trade him.
Yep.
But I know I have
way to give away your strategy to your leagues.
Dude, that's what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to share opinions, bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
Let Twitter know what we're all about.
That's right. Of them, I don't like any of them. But if I have to pick one, I'll pick Penny.
Find a penny, pick it up.
Hey, all day.
Were we rap? Was
all
that?
Day
were we gonna start a song there? Was that?
We could have.
Hey. Find a penny, pick it up. Okay, this is all right. So we had a big show today.
That was like the whitest rap we could have done.
Well, yeah. Coming from a guy that drinks Seagrams and doesn't like mac and cheese.
Here's the jack.
You're just the most unlikable person right now. That's unbelievable.
It's okay.
After this break, Matt, we have the freaking Ryan McDowell here. And then after that...
Oh, you're looking way ahead.
We're going to talk contract year players.
I think we should probably talk to Ryan McDowell about contract year players.
Yeah, he might know a thing or two.
Yeah, he kind of does that ADP stuff and knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
He's on contracts all over the place.
That's right.
Dude's like
busy man.
Everywhere you turn, you can't not see Ryan McDowell's
and he teaches. The guy's a teacher. Like, that's cool.
Teacher of fantasy football players.
That's right.
All right, we'll be right back with Ryan McDowell. And we are back. And Matt, we have a very special guest today.
I'm excited.
None other than Ryan McDowell. He is at RyanMC23 on Twitter. Kind of a big deal. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Not a big deal at all, though. But
you're too
glad
modest.
to be here hanging out with you guys and talking a little football.
Ryan, before we even start, we got to talk about some of the things that you're involved with the Dynasty community, the fantasy football community. You are the host of the Bull Rush podcast, the Dynasty Blueprint podcast. You're a writer for Roto World, Dynasty League Football, and Dynasty Command Center. Am I right?
Yes, yeah, that is all true. It sounds a little overwhelming when I hear it all, but yeah, it's a fun time and just glad to be involved with a lot of great people and some great websites and podcasts and things. So yeah, it's fun times.
I can't imagine how busy you are at this time of the year. I mean, you have to have leagues of your own as well. You're drafting and preparing and doing notes and research and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This time I was telling some friends a couple days ago, this time is actually pretty rough. As we get closer to the football season, obviously things are ramping up for all of us, whether it's leagues or podcast or articles or whatever it might be. And then I'm also a third grade teacher, and school is starting back. First day of school is actually today. So it's kind of the school crunch and the football crunch all at once. And yeah, it's going to be a challenging month or so, but once both of those kind of get into the flow and the routine, things will be better, and I will enjoy them both a little bit more.
Shaping the minds of today's youth as well as the fantasy community.
Well, and
I'll do my best.
And speaking of kids, you're a father yourself, right?
Yes, yeah, three kids, and like I said, today was the first day of school for two of them. My oldest started middle school today, and my daughter started fourth grade, so big day for them. My youngest starts kindergarten in 2 weeks.
Man,
wow!
So yeah, it's fun times in the McDowell household.
Ryan, we're going to talk a lot of football. We are, I promise. But I'm super curious. I have to know, what's your story? How did you get started, and what kind of path have you taken to be as prominent as you are when it comes to fantasy football?
Sure. So I actually started playing Dynasty before. Well, I guess that was my first fantasy league, was the Dynasty League. A friend of mine, a coworker of mine, invited me to join his league, which was filled with college buddies, and did that, and just immediately fell in love. Like a lot of guys our age, I grew up playing Madden and all of those games, even the other sports as well. And for me, it was just the team management, the off-season part of it that was the most enjoyable. And fantasy kind of felt like that as far as making trades and draft picks and just all those great things we enjoy. So really, as soon as I got into that first Dynasty League, I was hooked and became really active on a couple different message boards. And as the hobby grew, my activity level grew. And then I guess things really ramped up once I joined Twitter. And I guess that was probably, 7 or 8 years ago now, maybe. But became active on there as well. And, if you're an active and active part in that fantasy community, like avenues just seem to open up. So Eric Dickens reached out to me and offered me a position at DLF, and things kind of took off from there. A year later, I started doing some work for Roto World. And then I guess a year after that, probably maybe a couple of years after that, Matt Williamson asked me to co-host the Dynasty Blueprint with him, which I did. And now we're 5 podcasts in.
And teasing another one.
Yes, yeah. I'm thinking about it. I've got an idea. I just need to see if I have the time.
And you're co-commish with Scott Fish over at League Safe, right?
Yeah. That's I guess my newest venture. Scott does a great job with all of his leagues. Obviously, the Scott Fish Bowl and so many of his own personal leagues that he started. And the Safe Leagues is a relatively new thing for him, and he's doing an awesome job with those so far. But it's one of those good problems that you run into. He had a ton of leagues and not a ton of time, so he needed a hand, and I was glad to step in and help him out with those. We of course agree on pretty much everything when it comes to that role of being a commissioner. So it's a good fit for us, and we share some of those duties over there. But those leagues continue to grow. It's fun to see.
All right. Enough of that.
All right.
Now we gotta talk some football. We gotta hear some opinions here. So, Ryan, with the July ADP coming out, what shocks you the most about the most recent DLF ADP?
I've got a few things that kind of stood out to me as I looked back over it, and I have to start with one of my favorite players, even though he hasn't, I guess, officially stepped onto the field yet, Lamar Jackson. I think the Lamar hype might be going a little too fast for what it really should be when it comes to quarterbacks. So in our latest ADP over at DLF, Jackson is quarterback 14. If you look at just his overall ADP, it doesn't look out of line. I think he's right around that 150 range overall. But quarterback 14 ahead of Winston Breeze, Matt Ryan, even a guy like Trubisky, who is another guy who is expected to make that big leap this year. And he's well ahead of the other rookies. Mayfield is 172, Rosen 186. So I get it. I live in Kentucky, and although I'm not a Louisville fan, I got to watch Jackson pretty closely throughout his career at U of L. And I'm not saying anything you guys don't know already, but obviously an electrifying player, right. And that's what's kind of fueling the hype, along with it just being trendy to kind of hate on Joe Flacco, which I understand that as well. But all of those things together, Jackson at quarterback 14 already just feels a little too rich for me. Yeah. There's not much value to be had with him.
No, not at all, really. So would you say that Lamar Jackson's your favorite rookie not named Saquon Barkley?
That's a good one. I don't know if he would be my favorite. I mean, I guess it depends on how you think of it. He's certainly not my 1.02, though he might be in a super flex league. I'm really a believer in Darius Geis.
I like Geis.
We saw a lot of chatter about who really should be the 1.02, especially after the draft, after Geis fell and Penny was taken much higher than any of us expected. But even this recent news with the Chris Thompson injury and him possibly being out, at least to start the season, everything's kind of going Geis's way right now.
Yeah.
So Geis would be my 1.02. Jackson might be my favorite, though. Yeah.
Am I crazy? Because I feel like I'm the only one in the room that actually kind of likes where Rob Kelly is right now.
You are.
Especially with his ADP. And it's just a buy low opportunity. You can get him super late in any startup. He's going to get the ball. He's not dead yet.
He's not going to get the ball.
He's going to get the ball a little bit. At least early on, he's going to have a shot to, be on the field. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking him ahead of Geis or ahead of Thompson even, but I do like Rob Kelly.
You don't like him ahead of Pirine? Or you like him ahead of Pirine?
I like him ahead of Pirine, yeah. I do. That's just me.
Yeah.
Call it a hunch.
And Ronald Jones is your 102, right?
That's my 102. I love Ronald Jones.
Yeah. So
give me the running back that has to go against Peyton Barber any day of the week.
You're not alone in that. We had Adam Spinks, the RB scout, on the Blueprint several weeks ago, and he said Jones is also his 1.02. So, and when it comes to running backs, obviously I trust his eyes. So Jones is a guy I've kind of gone back and forth on a little bit. The opportunity is obviously there.
Yes,
I agree with you. I mean, Barber's a nice player. He's an NFL player, but he's not a guy that you look at and say, yeah, he's going to be an every down back.
No.
So, but at the same time, I'm not sure Jones is either, honestly. So that will certainly be one of those camp battles to watch.
Well, speaking of camp battles, are there any other camp battles that you're watching, you're paying close attention to?
Oh, man, there's so many.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot.
It seems like most of them do involve these rookies because, especially as dynasty owners, we see these names and we draft them in the first round of rookie drafts, and I think we just trick ourselves into automatically projecting them as starters no matter what. And guys like Barber and guys like Chris Carson just get thrown to the side maybe a little too soon in some cases.
Yeah.
So, these are legitimate camp battles, and we can laugh and say, oh, of course Penny's going to win the job, and Jones is going to win the job, and Gallup is going to be the wide receiver one. But these guys are still unproven rookies, regardless of where they went in the draft, and that's why we have camp battles. And some of these guys are not going to win the jobs, but we've seen a lot about the Seattle backfield. I still think it has to be Penny. I'm not a believer really in Carson. I don't know what's going on there with some of the comments from Pete Carroll, but it does seem kind of crazy.
Pete Carroll talked up Eddie Lacy at this time last year, and then he got 5 carries week 1. So I don't buy anything that Pete Carroll says in terms of running backs right now because of that last year. I'm with you. Yeah. I think Penny is the guy to own the RB1 come week 1. Yeah.
A couple of others, the Indianapolis backfield.
That's a contest.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen there. And there's 3 options, 3 pretty good options. And although Nyheim Hines does not look like a guy who's going to be the every down back, he certainly could have a pretty important role there. And then of course Mack and the other rookie Wilkins.
Yep.
I have no idea. I was impressed with Mack last year, but like we said with Jones and with Barber, he doesn't feel like an every down or even early down running back to me. He feels more like kind of that Nyheim Hines role. So when they drafted Hines, I'm thinking, what are they doing? Those two guys are fairly similar. I think Mack's a little bit of a better runner between the tackles. Hines, of course, strictly that pass catcher pretty much.
Right.
And then adding Wilkins made a little bit more sense, but who knows? I want pieces of all 3 of those guys because I have no idea how it's going to go, honestly.
I really think that starting job or that first and second down job is going to go to whoever just sucks less. Like, that's all they're really playing for right now. I don't think any of those guys are going to be relevant 2 seasons from now. I really don't. But that's just me.
I'm watching the Jacksonville wide receiver. I want to see who wins that wide receiver 2 job. I mean, is it Westbrook? Is it Cole? Is it the highest paid guy in Moncrief? I mean,
so I just seen a report on I think it was Roto World where they're thinking that Moncrief has that wide receiver 1 job lined up.
One?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what about Marquise Lee?
My hands are literally in the air. I don't know. I don't know.
I haven't read that. But
Moncrief as a wide receiver 1 seems crazy to me, but
I've depended on Moncrief in fantasy leagues for too long to believe in him anymore.
I'm actually still kind of on the Moncrief train, and even when you said that, kind of presuming Lee was the wide receiver 1, I thought the same thing. That I'm not sure I'm ready to make that statement. And really, all of these guys, I don't know if we can trust any of them to stay healthy. They've all got some pretty nasty injury history. They draft DJ Shark, who just seems kind of like fool's gold to me.
Yep.
I mean, they really have 5 wide receiver 3s on that roster. At the same time, at least one of them, maybe 2, is gonna give some nice value. I think it's Moncrief. He's so cheap right now in every format.
Yes.
He's also a free agent. He just signed a 1-year deal.
Yep.
So he's incentivized to work his hardest to obviously make a good showing and hopefully get that big contract that he probably thought he would get this year.
I'm glad you mentioned the contract year aspect to that. So do you have any idea or who would you predict could possibly have like the biggest ADP jump by next year that's a current contract year player? Contract year players is kind of the theme of the show today. I mean, we're going to talk about quite a bit. Does anybody kind of stand out for you that could really impact their ADP?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few, and we talked about this, and everybody really talked about this early in the offseason after Jerick McKinnon got his big deal.
Yep.
And the theme and the question was, who's the next Jerick McKinnon? And it boiled down to a couple of guys, as you guys well know, Tevin Coleman and Duke Johnson. And we know since then that Duke Johnson
got paid,
like somehow signed this new contract that will keep him in Cleveland. To us, it kind of looks like, what were you doing? You could have been a free agent, but at the same time, he's ready to enter a crowded backfield in 2018, and he got paid, like you said.
Yep.
So it's a great move for him, regardless of what we think as dynasty owners. So I think that leaves Tevin Coleman as the most likely kind of most likely player to take that McKinnon path. The difference is this time last year, McKinnon was outside of the top 200, and Tevin Coleman's still a pretty valuable asset. So I think we could see him make a big jump. We had Sean Siegel also on the Blueprint recently, and he mentioned that he could see Coleman as a 2nd or 3rd round pick in drafts next year, both dynasty and redraft. So, of course, if we had said that about McKinnon last year, it would have been
same reaction.
Ludicrous,
right.
And that's exactly what has happened. So Tevin Coleman is the most likely, but he's also probably the most expensive of some of these guys. I found a few others who are going to be free agents next year that kind of vary in price, but most of them are pretty cheap. Tyler Lockett will be a free agent. He's another guy kind of like Moncrief, I guess, that has teased us. He got a lot of hype in past years and never really lived up to it. But, now Doug Baldwin's hurt.
Right.
Paul Richardson is gone. Jimmy Graham's gone. You have to assume there's going to be
they have
some
Brandon
increased
Marshall.
Opportunity. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Here's Lockett's opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So Lockett, we'll see if he can make the most of that. 3 backup running backs. I wouldn't say I love any of these guys, but if they're cheap or free, and I've got pretty deep rosters, they're at least all worth monitoring. Latavius Murray, going back to that Minnesota talk after McKinnon, he's a free agent next year. And I think really whenever he's been given a chance, he's put up pretty good numbers. I think he's a guy we've just undervalued almost throughout his career. Amir Abdullah. He's probably the player I think is most comparable to McKinnon at this point. He's been buried. They drafted Kerryon Johnson just as the Vikings drafted Dalvin Cook last year, which essentially killed McKinnon's value. and we're looking at him as his career's done. He's not relevant at all anymore. Now, he might be finding a new team earlier than next year.
Yeah.
Get cut or traded. We'll see what happens with that backfield. But we know the talent. We know that he was, I believe he was a second-round pick back when he came out. Second or third round, I think. It could happen with Amir Abdullah.
We're in Nebraska. We have heard about Amir Abdullah for years. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm sick of hearing about Amir Abdullah, but...
well, I understand that. He's actually not a guy that I've ever believed in. Even when the hype was, in full effect, I was avoiding him and just didn't see him as that difference maker. But honestly, last year I would have said the same thing about McKinnon. So I just don't want to. I don't want to totally overlook any player.
Yeah, right.
I've gotten burned doing that in the past. And just looking at the price for McKinnon and a few other guys this time last year, it hurts knowing I could have had them so cheaply.
The one thing, when I hear Amir Abdullah, I think back to the draft, and Bruce Arians was so high on Amir Abdullah and wanted him over David Johnson. I just think, what could Amir Abdullah have been had he ended up in Arizona with Arians?
I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it's a situation that the Lions ruined him, or is it more on the player?
I think it's more on. Well, I think it goes both ways every time. For more time than not. But I think that Amir Abdullah, for where he's going now, is definitely worth the gamble. What I think is the most interesting part of the story is just that fall from grace that he had. I mean, I don't know the numbers and where exactly he was going last year compared to this year, but it's a hell of a drop. I can guarantee you that. I think that's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, I was never big on him coming out. But I think that part of that was we've just, like I said, being around Nebraska, we get him shoved down our throat. But I trusted Arians, and so if he saw something that, you saw what he did with the offense in Arizona and how he turned him around. I think if a guy like that thinks he can use him, if he gets in the right offensive system, kind of like McKinnon going to Shanahan. I'm a huge Shanahan believer, so I like McKinnon. So if he goes, I'm trying to think of a young offensive-minded head coach that needs a running back, but Gurley's with McVay, and I don't know. So if he ends up somewhere like that, okay, maybe I'll buy. And you're right, the cost on him right now is so low that it's worth a speculative ad if you've got the roster space.
Yeah, I had to look it up, Justin, after you said it there. So a year ago this month, looking at August 27 ADP, Amir Abdullah was 54 overall.
Wow.
And now, we don't have actually August data for him yet, but last month in July, he was 224.
See, that's buy low all over it. You got to invest in that. You have to invest in that.
You could probably get him for a third.
Next to nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know about a third, but you can get him next to nothing, comparably. He's a throw-in player at this point.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's just crazy. Oh. So am I the only one in the room that's super duper excited for football to be on tomorrow? Is that just me, or is it just me?
I'll watch it. It's I don't know if there's any someone tweeted out the guys to watch in tomorrow's game that aren't starters that are probably going to see a lot of time, and we're not going to see we may see starters for a series, but
if that. I can't tell you really a lot about the depth that's in Chicago or Baltimore, to be honest with you. There's a couple wide receivers I want to see in Baltimore, but, who knows how much playing time they're actually going to get.
Maybe this is Kevin White's breakout game. Where he breaks his leg again.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. I think the question is, how, going back to Jackson, how much do we see Lamar Jackson? Obviously, he's not slated to be the starter now, so we assume that we won't see too much of Joe Flacco. We won't see too much of Trubisky. A lot of times the starters don't play at all in this first game. So I think everybody's going to be there to see Lamar and just see how much he actually gets to play.
You imagine the hype if he has an amazing game. He's
he's
QB
not
14.
If Lamar plays, it'll be maybe a series, maybe two. Like, it's not going to be a lot. It's just going to be a peak.
I could see, I don't know, not that they're similar players, but I see Dak Prescott and Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar Jackson has a hot preseason, something happens to Flacco, and Jackson's just going to run with the job. I mean, it's an easy contract to get rid of after next year for Flacco, and or
Joe Flacco has this Josh McCown resurgence and holds off, a rookie or another vet kind of type of quarterback situation like he did. I think it was maybe not last season, but the season before that with the Jets.
Yeah,
McCown had a great season, held off whatever third or fourth round rookie. I think that was Bryce Petty. Remember him?
Yeah,
exactly. But we could see something like that.
Did you just compare Bryce Petty to Lamar Jackson?
I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying you got to beat the guy in front of you, and we don't know if Lamar Jackson can do that yet.
Oh,
no.
We don't.
I'm willing to bet we do.
Hey, man, I don't know. Joe Flacco might be feeling the heat, you know what I mean? And he might be more motivated than he's been in years. That Super Bowl got him a nice paycheck.
And
I don't know.
There's been good reports on Flacco too. I mean, I don't think if you could, if you could get an honest answer out of Harbaugh and the Baltimore staff, I don't think they want Jackson to play this year.
No.
That team with, and especially with Newsom kind of near the end of his GM career, they want to win every year. They're not a team that ever tries to rebuild or tries to, tank a year or anything like that. They want to contend every year. They come really close to doing it every year, and they want Flacco to succeed and then maybe see what happens in 2019 with Jackson.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. So, Ryan, before we let you go, you want to tell everybody about the your podcasts again and where they can find you on Twitter and really how they can connect with you?
Sure. So you can follow me on Twitter at RyanMC23, and I've got doing some work at Roto World, of course, and my home there, I guess, is Dynasty League Football, so you can find my stuff there. And then I have a few podcasts, the DLF podcast, the Player Raider podcast, the Bull Rush, the Dynasty Blueprint, and the Commish Impossible podcast with Scott Fish. So you can find all of those on iTunes and really anywhere you find podcast in general. They're all out there. And then if you really want to connect with me, you can check out the Dynasty Command Center. That's something kind of a service I do with Curtis Patrick, and it's I guess you could say it's a consultation service for Dynasty, but what we're really building through a premium Slack channel is just a Dynasty community where folks are hanging out, talking about their teams, talking about the news of the day, and just trying to become better Dynasty players.
Very interesting. So the hardest working man in Dynasty football today.
So you're everywhere. You're literally everywhere.
Ryan, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
See you later.
All right.
See you later.
That's right. And Matt, you want to let everybody know who that was?
That is my 2-year-old daughter, Kyla, and we had some fun recording some sound bits that we're going to use from here on out.
Absolutely, and they're pretty funny.
And she was cute. She loved it. I mean, she had a lot of fun recording different things, and if you guys could hear the things that we cut, there was so much more that
a lot of 4-letter words.
Yeah, awful.
It was upsetting. It was upsetting.
One take, she said, "Oh, McDonald had a farm," and that was it. I was like, "What?"
How about Ryan McDowell?
Ryan McDowell was great.
That was a great interview.
I mean, I didn't expect anything less. The guy's a professional. He's everywhere. He knows what he's talking about.
He sounds like he's been on podcasts before.
Yeah, a few. I would guess. He's done a guest spot or two, and Maybe even host his own.
Matt, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to contract year players.
Yeah.
Right. So what I decided to do is I kind of broke this down for you a little bit by position, and we'll kind of go through there. And they're mostly the notable names that are actually, on dynasty rosters.
Right.
So let's start off with quarterbacks.
Okay.
There is not a lot of hype surrounding the 2019 potential free agent pool with this position.
No.
The biggest names that have expiring contracts, in my opinion, are definitely Tyrod Taylor.
Yep.
And Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
Now, Tyrod Taylor may be looking at his final year as a starter, looking at $16 million for this season alone from the Browns. From the Browns. Excuse me.
Yeah, they traded for him in his contract.
He has to hold off Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's all right.
But luckily, this is probably the most talent he's ever had around him in his entire career.
Easily the most talented team in terms of receivers, running backs, offensive coordinators.
Youthful talent, too.
Yes.
And proven. Jarvis Landry is a proven. He deserves to be a wide receiver one on a team. David Njoku produced one of the best producing Browns tight ends they've ever had.
Yeah,
that's statistically correct.
That's statistically correct, but is it saying much? Who are the other Browns tight ends that?
Kellen Winslow.
Okay.
And I know they've had other ones, but either way, obviously there's talent there.
Yeah, Josh Gordon,
Carlos Hyde,
Duke Johnson.
So he's surrounded by talent.
Yes.
Tyrod Taylor could be a very good fit. It just, with Baker Mayfield and the draft capital they have in him and him being a quarterback and a rookie, it's just going to be really difficult to see them signing him for an extension.
No, yeah, he's in Cleveland this year and this year only. And I don't think I like Tyrod Taylor next year as a starter. I think he goes somewhere as a starter. I actually had this discussion on Twitter with people, Superflex League, and what his value was. And Tyrod Taylor is going to be a starter somewhere next year. Now it may not be as a good a situation as Cleveland, but I like him. I like him long term. I think he goes somewhere as someone starter. AJ McCarron before the draft this year got starter money from the Bills. So we may not know it yet, but I think there is a team out there that's going to sign Tyrod to start for them.
Well, the other quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, he's trying to play his way into just a decent position.
Yeah.
He's reportedly being considered to be traded, and McCown is ahead of him on the depth chart. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
And rookie Sam Darnold is breathing right down his neck.
Yeah. Well, just got into camp and... Yeah,
it's a tough position for Bridgewater and Bridgewater owners, and really the coaching staff, of the Jets. It's like, really, what do you do there? What's the best call? And I think Teddy Bridgewater falls in the middle, and usually in NFL depth charts, if you're in the middle, you're going to find a new team.
Right. I don't know where he. I think he goes somewhere that's got maybe an older quarterback next year. I like him. He put up solid numbers. When he played, it's been a couple years, but I think I haven't forgotten what he did. I assume you haven't forgotten what he did.
No,
you liked him a lot coming out as a rookie. Mm-hmm. He's got the talent. And he's proven that he can play. But that scary, crazy knee injury kind of makes people weary.
Absolutely. So this is probably the most fun that we're going to have. We're going to have a lot of conversation here. We got the running back position.
Yes.
So the potential running back free agent pool has some ridiculously big names.
Very large.
Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, Mark Ingram, most notable.
Those are the top. Yeah.
Now, this is a very familiar situation for Le'Veon Bell. It's undeniable how much of an asset he has been to the Steelers organization.
Yes.
And I think that any club would bend over backwards to sign him to a long-term deal.
Yeah, I don't know about bend over backwards.
Dude,
but
he is one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the NFL.
Yes. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah. I don't know what he's demanding or what he's asking for in contracts, but I think, you're right. He's the biggest fish out there for running backs.
Is he a Steeler next year?
No.
I don't think so either.
I do not think so.
I think we finally hit that tipping point where they're going to let him walk.
Yeah, and it's where does he go? Like, who has the cap space to pay what he's asking, and who has an open position? I think I like him, but he may be going year to year for the rest of his career.
No way.
You think someone's going to sign him long term?
Absolutely. That's the only deal he would take. If you're a free agent, you're a free agent. It's the market. You don't sign a 1-year deal. If he wanted to do that, he would have stuck with Pittsburgh.
What if he gets offered a 1-year, $20 million deal?
No way. As a running back, your shelf life's short. Take somebody out there would pay him a 3-year or 4-year deal.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Maybe
that's the only thing he's going to consider. That's what he wants.
Wouldn't Houston make that? Wouldn't that just be? That'd be scary.
That would be scary.
Any of these guys in Houston would be scary.
Speaking of scary, there's a spider in the Seagram's Escapes studio right there.
Oh, he's just here to party. Just joining the party, man.
Hey, little guy.
Come on down.
Okay. Speaking of little guys, Jay Ajayi, he seems to be having a pretty safe gig in Philly.
You think?
Got himself a ring, and he has nobody but himself to blame if he doesn't produce in this backfield.
Yeah. That's a fair team. That's a fair point.
And there's nothing behind him. Nobody's threatening his job.
You don't like Clement? There's a lot of Clement love, at least in the leagues and things I've seen.
Hey, you can like Clement as a guy that's a little change of pace every now and then, sure. But Jay Ajayi is way light years better than Corey Clement.
I take it you're not buying into the Darren Sproles hype that he could be the lead dog in the backfield.
No way.
All right.
Over Jay Ajayi? No. And I don't think Jay Ajayi is a special player, but just no.
No, I agree with you. I didn't. Sometimes we're on opposite sides of takes here, and got to check.
You don't say. David Johnson missed practically all of 2017 and has yet to receive a big NFL contract. I think you mentioned this last week, but
he's still on his rookie deal.
He's still on his rookie deal, and he's actually turning 27 in December.
Yep.
He was kind of older for a rookie draft. So one has to assume this could be his best opportunity for him to make some serious money here.
Oh, yeah.
He has a ton to prove. And I mean, after this, you're not going to have... It's going to be even harder once you hit that 30-year-old wall.
The age thing plays into it, but if you look at what he's been used at, his carries, his touches, if you want to call it that, is so much lower than a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who's the same age. I mean, I think Johnson has 1/3 of the touches that Le'Veon Bell has.
Wow.
So, old rookie, he's still on his rookie deal. This is, it's his time to get paid. I think he's going to get paid. He'll be somewhere where they're going to use him. He'll be the focal point, and he'll be a big name to watch out here. I would not be surprised if David Johnson was signed before Le'Veon Bell next year.
I traded David Johnson in last season's offseason.
You did.
And I
remember making fun of you for it.
I think looking back, I still have no regrets for it. I don't even remember what I got, but I know I did it in a couple different leagues, and I don't own David Johnson in any league. I think if you had him that season, his rookie year, that's the best it's ever going to get. You did great. You had a great investment. It turned... I mean, you got a great profit off of it.
Yeah.
You did great. That was the time to sell. Now definitely might still be. I don't think we're going to see the same David Johnson, and I'm really worried for him financially next offseason.
I think you got Gurley. It was a few years ago, but I think you got Gurley. I think you traded Johnson for Gurley and a pick.
Ugh,
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Goodness.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know. David, I think he's got a bright future. He'll probably...
I don't see it.
I think he'll put up not the exact same numbers, but similar numbers, if not better, but not much better. You're right. That value may have peaked. He's still a top 3 running back.
I think you have to do it. I'm just not going to.
Yeah, your opinion on running backs is have them, 2 years, 3 years, and then trade them away?
Yep. 2 to 3 year window.
That's right.
Mark Ingram is an interesting player.
I like Mark Ingram.
And a really interesting player for this year in this contract situation.
Yeah, it sucks that his contract year started out with a 4-game ban.
Yeah, but he's going to be real rested in week 5.
That's true.
I love Mark Ingram right now. I really do. So he signed a $16 million deal in 2015, and since then has steadily increased his amount of rushes, rushing yards,
yep,
and number of 100-yard games season over season.
Yep.
Dude, he's supposed to be getting older and slowing down, and they've had different talent come through. The only constant has been Drew Brees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's ridiculous. Last season, Ingram scored 12 touchdowns, more than any other season in his 7-year career.
And he did it with the Rookie of the Year, Alvin Kamara.
So it's almost like he's really reaching his potential.
Yeah, but he's at that dreaded 29, 30, that age that scares GMs away.
Yeah, but when you're producing like this, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't. And he reportedly like loves New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like, and that fan base there loves him quite a bit too. So I could see him really giving them a bit of a hometown discount to stay, but I don't know how much they're going to want him because of how great Alvin Kamara has looked.
Kamara looked good in a timeshare. I mean, he's not the lead back. He's not the only guy in the backfield there.
If his price is decent, if his agent comes in at a decent price and it makes sense, I would totally do everything I can to keep him as the Saints, because that seems like a really electric duo.
1-2 combo.
Them two in the backfield.
Thunder and lightning.
Great. Just seems great.
Yeah.
So Tevin Coleman, who is somebody that McDowell mentioned.
Yeah, a little earlier.
Yeah, he has to be motivated, right?
Yeah.
He's been playing behind Devonta Freeman, who is definitely the guy in Atlanta.
Yep.
But
he got paid. Freeman got paid. Coleman, I mean, he got paid a couple years ago, and Coleman at that point knew that he was not the long-term guy.
Yeah, but and Coleman has helped out Devonta Freeman quite a bit, and as well as the rest of the team. So let me explain. The past 2 seasons, Coleman is responsible for 20 touchdowns for the Falcons.
Okay.
That's not bad for an RB2 on the depth chart.
Nope.
20 touchdowns?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do the research to find any other RB2 and what they've done, but I would be willing to bet you that's top notch.
Yeah,
Touchdown production for a RB2 on a depth chart, I think that's crazy.
Kamara? But other than that?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Dude is only making $790,000 this year.
Oh, that's awful. Gosh, how does he survive?
Hey, you just think about all those season tickets that the Falcons,
Yeah, if you're comparing it to running backs, that's awful.
It's
but
crazy.
I'll take $790K.
You're not a premier athlete.
Hey, you don't know that.
I do.
You don't.
I sit next to you every week. Trust me, I know.
We've been friends for a while.
So I don't know if you want to really touch anything on these guys, but I got C.J. Anderson, T.J. Yeldon, and Spencer Ware are also fairly notable running backs that are in contract situations.
Yeldon is a guy that second-round pick, used to be a lead dog in a backfield, kind of relegated down the depth chart in Jacksonville.
He wasn't good enough.
I'd be interested to see where he ends up. You want to talk? We talked about Amir Abdullah. Why can't we talk about T.J. Yeldon?
No, I'm not saying we can't talk about it. That's my opinion. I don't think he's good enough to be. He's never going to be an RB1. I think you would agree with that, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know. I mean, maybe best case scenario is a flex. I mean, you can definitely get him for pretty darn cheap now. So if you're in a startup, one of your not last, but
you got some open bench
one
spot.
of your later picks, you might as well take Yeldon.
I'm looking at this group. I know you really like Spencer Ware.
I love Spencer Ware.
Yeah.
Dude, and there's a lot of people that are naysaying Kareem Hunt, and I kind of agree with it. If you're one of those people, you should have Spencer Ware on your roster right now.
Yeah.
Before Kareem Hunt, Spencer Ware was okay.
Was the guy.
He was okay as the guy. I mean, Char West was there too, but Spencer Ware had some weeks where he blew up.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, Spencer Ware makes a ton of sense right now.
Yeah, he could be. Yeah, sign somewhere as an RB2, and I mean, he may produce and get himself a nice contract in Kansas City. Neither one of us talked about C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson put up over 1,000 yards last year, got cut, going to the Panthers. Is he the RB1 on that depth chart in Carolina?
I mean, he might be, but he's not going to be at the playtime as an RB1. I mean, they might let him start, but Christian McCaffrey is going to be the guy that produces.
The best goal line back in Carolina is Cam Newton.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while.
Yes.
It's proven true.
Yeah.
So let's move on. We got wide receivers.
Okay.
The wide receiver group is easily headlined by Odell Beckham Jr.
Boom.
But don't let that fool you. There's plenty of talent that could be finding a new team in 2019.
All right, who we got?
So OBJ is doing everything right. Like, let's start off right there.
He's going to get a contract extension.
He's in camp. He's staying out of trouble. And he's keeping his mouth shut, which is most important.
He's not fighting kicking nets.
No, not anymore. To me, this shows that he realizes that he can make a ton of money next offseason, and really all signs are kind of pointing to OBJ sticking around with the Giants.
Yeah.
But the thought of him hitting the open market the same year as Le'Veon Bell,
wouldn't that be fun?
Is mind-blowing. That's Madden stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
That's crazy, and I don't foresee anybody having any team having the cap space to sign both of them at the same time.
Super teams in the NFL.
Yeah, but can you imagine OBJ and Lev Bell on the same team?
No. Gosh.
Throw in C.J. Anderson, and I'm telling you,
I was thinking like
Teddy Bridgewater
I
championship.
was thinking Golden Tate, but no, that could be a scary off. I mean, you said it. That's Madden level stuff. Those are guys that if they're on the free agent wire in your video game, you team them up. But I don't see an NFL franchise doing that.
You gonna pick up Madden this week? Comes out next week.
I probably won't pick it up this week. I usually wait for the price drop and then get it at
Black
Christmas.
Friday.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas time, somewhere around there, November, December, and then I play.
I got it pre-ordered.
You do that. You do that.
I got it pre-ordered. It's gonna download directly on my Xbox Tuesday night.
Yeah,
midnight.
you'll do that. Oh, you download it? Never mind. I was gonna say you do that, and then 3 weeks later you take it into GameStop and get $12 for it.
For games that I know I'm gonna play a ton of, like Madden. Like I do the whole digital download thing.
Yeah,
it's great.
Too bad you're on Xbox.
I'm on PS4 now.
You what?
I bought a PS4.
Oh no, that's a game changer.
Well, I mean, when you got realtor money like I do.
So wait, are you getting Madden for PS4 or Madden
I'm getting Madden for Xbox though. Dude,
Man.
I would smash you.
Did you know? You can go back and listen. You know how excited I was? Like I'm the exact opposite down now. So what'd you get the PS4 for then?
The
show?
I bought the PS4 for the show and God of War.
All right,
Dude, God of War is so good.
I'll have to get the show.
Oh my, get God of War first.
All right, I don't have a lot of free time. I'm a dad,
Dude,
and I do a podcast. I don't know if you know that.
God of War is. Oh, don't get me started.
All right, contract your players.
Anyways, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
On the opposite end of the talent spectrum,
That's a good transition.
Devin Funchess is in a contract year too.
Yeah, I don't like Funches.
Bunches of Funchess is a
You have
former
liked him.
second. No, do not even.
You are a Michigan fan. You liked him coming out.
I liked him coming out, but since I've actually seen him in the NFL, he is a tight end through and through.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not a wide receiver, and he should never be a wide receiver one on any roster.
No.
But Bunches of Funches is a former second-round pick in 2015, and he's coming off of the best season since. He had 63 catches, 840 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Do you think he earns himself a nice payday?
What's a nice payday? I mean, Dante Moncrief just got $9 million, so
For
yeah,
one
I guess.
season. They had to pay him that for one season.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about a nice contract. He's a role player. He could be a wide receiver too somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think he's in Carolina next year? Or do you think they've seen enough?
I think he's in Carolina next year. I do. I think he stays.
He seems like the type of guy that would walk and test the market.
I bet he tests the market, but I bet he ends up coming back to Carolina. Yeah, I don't see him getting a deal before the end of the offseason, but I just don't think there's much of a market out there for him. I think he stays in Carolina.
All right. Well, speaking of not very talented,
North Turner knows what he's doing.
Kelvin Benjamin is the quote-unquote wide receiver one in Buffalo, and it's by a pretty big margin.
Yeah.
The problem is A.J. McCarron, Nathan Peterman, and Josh Allen have all reportedly looked like garbage in camp at quarterback.
Josh Allen's the best garbage that they've got.
Is he?
That's what
Have you
Roto
seen
World
the
has
videos?
said. I
Because
have. He can't hit running back out of the backfield, and he's overthrowing
is
guys.
bad.
That's what big arm quarterbacks do. They overthrow their wide
It is
receivers,
bad.
and then they blame them. It's the wide receiver's fault.
So Kelvin Benjamin, I know you've been high on Kelvin Benjamin in the past.
No, I
yes,
have
you have.
not.
You've liked Kelvin Benjamin before.
No way. I got into it like me and Chris Whitman had like an argument on a podcast that I did not like Kelvin
Vicious
Benjamin.
cockfight.
Oh, it was bad.
Bad.
He's a Kelvin Benjamin truther, quote unquote. Yeah, no, I don't
It's
like.
a hard position to take.
I don't like Kelvin Benjamin.
All right. Well, Notre Dame alum Golden Tate
Yep.
has been an awesome slot receiver for the Lions since 2014. I don't know if a lot of people realize this.
Yes.
Over 90 catches each season since signing with the Lions. Over 1,000 yards in receiving, 3 of those 4 seasons. And he's averaging 5 touchdowns each year. He's turning 30 this season, and Tate has already expressed his concern with organizations using his age against him unjustly in contract negotiations. He's already worried about that.
Yeah, he's
So-
30, dude. Welcome to the club. Well,
But his point was like, I'm still producing at the same level I've been producing for a while now.
Yeah, but Father Time is undefeated, dude. You're gonna fall off eventually. Like, who wants to be left holding that grenade?
The best thing for Golden Tate is to stay in Detroit. Keep everything the same. You're producing so well
But
there.
I don't know if Detroit will want him back because they got this Galladay party going on.
They got to see something from Galladay, though. A little bit more than preseason games.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He scored 2 touchdowns.
He's a name to watch in the
year.
preseason. That's another
true.
good one.
Yeah, I like him.
We might want to come up with a list of players to watch.
Next week.
Maybe.
Next
We
week.
might have to do that.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the show at hand. Chris Hogan is about to run wild on you, brother.
You love that bit.
With his clone Julian Edelman set to miss the first 4 games of the season, Hogan is going to have a real opportunity to earn some playing time early.
Hogan's a hero.
Hogan's hero.
Hogan's hero.
What do you think of Chris Hogan?
I actually like Chris Hogan. As dirt cheap as you can get him right now.
He's not dirt cheap anymore. You missed the boat.
I didn't because I've got him, but he'll be okay. He'll produce with Brady. He was a top 10 wide receiver with Brady the first 6 weeks of last season.
What do you think of Edelman then?
I like Edelman coming back. He'll be a wide receiver 2, plug and play when he comes back. In like fantasy wide receiver 2, not no New England wide receiver 2. You disagree?
I don't know if I disagree. You can only have one. Which one do you want?
This season?
Yeah.
Edelman. No? That's mine. Give me Edelman.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. He used to be a quarterback.
Jesus. Yeah, we hear it every like Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football game they're on. They always bring it up. Okay. Well, Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes.
His contract runs out this season.
The ageless wonder.
And we all know he's only going to play for the Cardinals.
Right.
We get it.
Yes.
And I'd imagine if I'm sitting in a PR department for the Cards, that you really don't want to face the backlash of Larry Fitzgerald saying, "Hey, I want to play again," and then you guys saying, "Nah," or "We're not going to pay you."
Right.
Seeing him play in 2019 likely depends on how the Cardinals fare this season.
Right.
Would you agree?
I would agree.
So, if the Cardinals do good and Josh Rosen at least looks promising, we could totally see another year of Larry Fitz.
Yeah. Are you asking? Yeah, I think.
No, I'm just talking.
Yeah, I think Fitz is. I don't think we have seen the last of Larry Fitzgerald. I think he'll play at least one more year.
You don't think this is his?
No, I don't think this is his going away party.
Okay. All right.
Now that changes if he gets injured.
Now, speaking of guys that we wish would not get injured but have a going away party, Terrell Pryor signed a prove-it deal with the Jets this year, over $4 million for one season.
Yeah.
Pryor went from playing 16 games for the Browns in 2016, over 1,000 yards receiving, 240 yards in 9 games.
Next big thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, 240-yard games in 9 games. That's a terrible sentence.
Yeah.
In Washington. He did terrible in Washington. That's what I'm trying to say. Which Pryor are you really expecting this year? The one that we seen that final season in Cleveland, or the one that we seen last year in Washington?
The one that we saw in Washington is the one that I expect to see again.
McCown can only do so much.
Yeah, and he's got better receivers ahead of him.
Yeah.
Anunwa.
Give me a new one.
Robbie Anderson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson's a great guy to have right now. Absolutely.
GTA Anderson. I love that. It's easier written out. It makes more sense.
Oh, sure.
But yeah.
No, it's adorable.
Man, this is deep. Are we done?
Dude, I'm nowhere near done with you.
Holy moly.
I got a couple more. I'll run through it.
Okay.
Rashard Matthews, his time as a Titan has been great when you compare it to his first 4 seasons in the league as a Dolphin. In the last 2 seasons, Matthews is averaging around 850 yards a season, and he's racked up 13 total touchdowns. So Matthews, obviously,
he's hurt.
He's paying for one of his last contracts here.
He's hurt.
Yeah.
He could start the year on the pup.
Not a ton of talent there. He has a chance. He's going to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
He might earn a nice little spot
Corey
somewhere.
Davis, Taylor. Yeah, he could go somewhere. He could be like an underrated signing that you see.
He's going to get signed next year.
Yeah,
It's just
he'll
I
be
don't
on
see it with
someone's
the
roster.
Titans.
Correct.
The rest of the notable names are probably Randall Cobb, Martavis Bryant, Dante Moncrief, Kevin White, John Brown, Ryan Grant, and I would say that Brown and Grant are quickly becoming popular sleepers.
Dude. Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't mean those two. How are you not going to talk about Randall Cobb? 27-year-old wide receiver 2 in Green Bay. He's going to produce, and he's still young to get a paycheck.
Because he didn't produce last year like
he didn't
everybody
produce
expected.
last year because Aaron Rodgers was hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking Cobb all day. I'll take Cobb over Funchess. I'll take Cobb over Benjamin. Yeah, Cobb. I'm on Cobb.
Whoa, easy.
Mm-hmm.
Family show. I don't disagree with that. I just thought of all the other names, I thought he was really the least.
He's like he feels old because he's been around forever, but he's still young.
I don't see him like ever going back to where he was.
I expect a big year out of Randall Cobb this year.
Ooh.
Wide receiver 3 on fantasy teams.
Well, regardless, it's really hard to believe. It's really hard to believe in Dante Moncrief or in Martavis Bryant or in Kevin White at this point, is it not?
Yeah. I mean, it's harder. It's easier to believe in Moncrief and Bryant because they've played, but Kevin White.
I just think Moncrief is surrounded by so many more talented younger wide receivers.
Like I'm gonna dad myself here. I feel like Kevin White is like Fetch. Like, stop trying to make Fetch happen. It's not gonna. Kevin White is not gonna be a thing in the NFL. Give it up.
One more year.
Oh,
I got one more year, and then I'm out.
No.
He was like dirt cheap in every league. If you wanted to trade for him last year, you got him for nothing.
Yeah, he's no way. No thanks.
Deep rosters.
Is he even going to get a shot in Chicago?
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Okay.
The tight end market.
Oh, this awesome group of players.
This is thin. This is thin. We should probably start off with the guy that Bob Long last week told us all about. Is his most consistent player.
Yep.
Ben Watson.
Yep.
Watson signed a 1-year deal with the Saints and is likely playing year to year for the remainder of his career.
Yep.
He will be 38 this offseason or this season. Excuse me.
Yeah, he'll get a 1-year deal if he wants to play. He'll go somewhere.
I picked up Watson in a couple leagues after listening to Bob Long. I'm not going to lie.
I looked for Watson in leagues after talking to Bob Long, and he wasn't available anywhere.
I was like, all right, well, why not? I can use a tight end too.
Yeah.
The tight end with probably the most to prove, it has to be Tyler Eifert.
My back. My back. I think he just hurt something because you talked about him.
We talked about him a bit at the top of the show, and Eifert's ADP, according to Fantasy Football Calculator, currently sits in the middle of the 10th round, which that's a lot.
Yeah.
for a tight end, number one, and for number two, for Tyler Eifert.
I'm not buying that price. No thanks.
Luke Wilson starting to gain some steam as a deep, deep sleeper.
Yes.
He's on a 1-year deal with the Lions and has virtually no competition.
It's true.
At the position in Detroit.
Yeah.
I like me some Luke Wilson.
I do too.
He's shown flashes of being able to catch and be a receiver.
Right. And he's got no one there. I mean,
Luke Wilson or Eric Ebron this year only. Oh. No, not
Wilson.
even close.
It's Wilson, but
thank you.
I hate Ebron.
If I would have told you that 2 years ago, would you have believed me? 3 years ago.
3 years ago, no.
Eric Ebron versus Luke Wilson in 3 years, you're going to want Luke Wilson.
I would have said, when did the actor get into football?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Is that the guy with the nose?
Yeah. No. I would have taken Ebron. You're right. And there are people out there that are loving Ebron. He's going to be a top 10. I don't see it.
I shuddered. I really shuddered.
I know. I don't see it. I've seen him.
Yikes.
I've seen him not catch too many passes.
Dude, we have gone way too long on this show. Usually we cap out about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's been a little. But it was worth it. Ryan McDowell, man.
Yeah, Ryan McDowell definitely held us up.
That was
you're right.
That was worth going over a little longer.
No, I'm kidding. It was nice to have Ryan on the show. We have actual football on TV tomorrow, Thursday.
The Hall of Fame game.
I'm gonna watch like 5 minutes of it. It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, there'll be a big play. I bet there's at least one 80+ yard touchdown.
Yeah,
is that a prop bet? Can I make that prop bet?
I'll take it.
Taylor Gabriel bomb.
Ooh, man, you're getting specific.
Yeah. Taylor Gabriel bomb.
The third string quarterback or something?
From the backup. Who's the backup in
I don't
Chicago?
see them playing Taylor Gabriel much.
He's
kind of a big playmaker.
Maybe not. Kevin White.
Are we going to see Anthony Miller at all or no?
I wouldn't, but I'm not a head coach.
I think we'll see a little bit of him.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited.
Wait. So who's more likely to play,
out
Anthony Miller or Taylor Gabriel?
Anthony Miller. You got to give Anthony Miller a couple plays out there. I mean, he's a rookie. You got to let the rookie play.
Yeah. Okay. Adam Shaheen, corner.
Shaheen needs to play.
Here's my prediction. Adam Shaheen will score a touchdown in the back of the end zone, in the corner. Back corner of the end zone. Fade to Adam Shaheen. Calling it now.
And the return of Urlacher probably too tomorrow. That's what I'm going to call right now.
All right.
All right. Well, that about does it, Matt. I think we're done for the show.
I'm ready to tap out.
Yeah, for sure. You've had way too many Seagram escapes.
Sugar gut.
We have just me, you, and me next week.
It's two of us.
No interviews.
No.
We're going to recap whatever preseason happens. We're going to recap the training camp stories, camp battles, all that other fun stuff. News and notes galore.
Hopefully Des Bryant is signed by then.
Maybe not. But we have plenty to talk about, I'm sure. So tune in next week, same time, same channel, iTunes, Podbean, Twitter, at Dynasty Dads. We're out.
God bless.
Thanks for hanging out with us on another episode of the Dynasty Dads Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and follow us on Twitter at Dynasty Dads. Visit us at our website, dynastydads.com, for articles, news, and notes, Dynasty Dads gear, and more.